Hello everybody, welcome back to Apple Gaming SE. So if you've been following my last video I did, not my last live stream, but just my normal video, we played around with Trails of Cold Steel 3 and trying to get the perfect performance to, we'll say, price to performance ratio in terms of the quality of the graphics to get it as stable as possible at 30 FPS for as highest graphical quality that we could attain. Now, there has been some enterprising folks out there in the community who have created a 60 FPS mod for Trails of Cold Steel 3 on the Switch. You need a modded Switch to install it, or you need to be using an emulator. And in this day and age, on the Mac at least, Ryujinx is the only option available to us with the, we'll say, premature demise of Yuzu. So, looking at Ryujinx documentation, always look at documentation first, they have support for mods. It'll tell you, if you go through and read this, it'll show you exactly what you need to do. There's a mods directory. You're going to find it under app data roaming, Ryujinx mods, contents game. This is on the Mac, so we don't have an app data or roaming folder. We have an application support folder. So it'll be your user profile, library, application support, Ryujinx. Now, the way that I'm doing this particular mod is using the atmosphere modification, we'll say mod environment. I'm not sure exactly what you want to call it, but for mods that have been packaged for real hardware, there is typically something called an atmosphere folder. So this is only for the atmosphere environment. So in this case, what I've done is Ryujinx will create an SD card folder automatically. It'll have an atmosphere folder, there'll be a contents folder, and then there will be a game ID folder. This is going to match the ID of your game. So you'll notice here 0, 1005, 420, 101, Delta Alpha 000, which is the same thing we have here, 101, Delta Alpha 000. So to get this particular mod, I've gone over to GBA Temp, and you can download the zip here. Fortunately, the original poster has kept this particular zip up to date. So this is the most current zip. There's a lot of them that are posted in the thread, but this seems to be the one that is the most current. There's a few more that are actually after this, I think. But this is for resolution mods and things like that. These do a couple different things. I like the original mod myself. It seems to work perfectly fine, so that's the one I've gone with for this particular. See, he quoted it here, so I think this is the most up-to-date one. This is the one I'm using at any rate. So, in order to install this mod, following the instructions here, it'll be Ryujinx, SD card, atmosphere, contents, game ID. Then you will create the name. So you'll notice here in step 2, create a subfolder with the appropriate name conveying the mod you're using. In this case, I did 60 FPS, and we are going to download, when we download I should say, that particular zip file. You notice it here, you double click on it, it extracts. This is the atmosphere folder. You're going to copy this exefs patches folder straight down here into your game ID folder under your 60 FPS mods. So you would just copy pasta straight on down. Then you will right click on the name of the game, manage mods, and it should be listed now. There is, if you enable the game, it has this blue tick next to it. If it is disabled, not the game, the mod. If you disable the mod, it is no longer there. So we will go ahead and fire this up. I will go ahead and full screen this as well. We have Metal HUD turned on already. So macOS 10 will show us its performance. And there is an FPS tracker also built into Ryujinx here in the bottom. You'll see where it says game, and it will show you the FPS and the actual frame time in milliseconds, which roughly matches what we're seeing here. I will say in this particular instance, I would encourage you to turn on VSync. If you do not, it will create some pretty rough tearing. Another thing to note in this mod is that the menus are tied to the frame rate of the game. So when you double the frame rate from the cap from 30 FPS to 60, you can scroll through the menu pretty quick without intending to. So just be aware of that. So we're going to load this save. This is one of the saves I had from my prior video. And we are going to, one thing we're definitely going to do straight away is fix the inversion. For some reason, the inversion is kind of like really off. It's just not inverted. I would say it's inverted, but it's like, it's the reverse of inverted. It's normal, but when you set it to normal, now it's inverted. So anyway, we are at 60 FPS, solid, running exactly how we want. Green, that's an inappropriate outfit. It looks pretty similar, if you ask me, to the PS4, PS5 build of the game. Once you make a couple of adjustments. So those adjustments would be, if you go to settings, you go to graphics, we're going to do 2x the native resolution, and I think SMAA is the sweet spot. You can move it up to ultra if you want, but you'll see some pretty serious frame drops into the 40s, sometimes the high 30s when you're doing your S-Craft abilities. You're going to set heteroscopic filtering to 16. Scaling factor, I think you can go with anything here. I don't think it really makes any difference. You can, FSR doesn't really do anything meaningful. You'll notice it kind of affects the mini-map a little bit, but not really much else. So I'm not sure you really need to put FSR on. I would actually leave this at bilinear for this particular title. Also, there seems to be no difference between handheld and docked mode that I can see when you're at 2x, so leave it at whatever makes you happy. I think the caveat for graphics is that some of the distance drawings, you'll notice this box down here. Watch right above the character head and the box. You'll notice there's a little blue exclamation point that's going to appear right there. So the draw distance isn't super far for some of the UI objects, kind of the context clues of the environment that you run through. So you notice again on those two boxes. So we'll walk forward slowly and you'll see that they pop in. But you can see from all the way down here, you can see that bad guy up there, the monster that we're going to go fight. This. Now, I probably shouldn't have been talking when I said that, but if you remember my last video and you're looking at this one, you'll notice that when we entered combat, when the game was capped at 30 FPS, you'll notice, I'll just turn off the UI, that there was no audio distortion. So for some reason, in Ryujinx, at least on Intel Macs, when you go into combat without any mods at all, that audio is a little bit distorted. I don't know why. It's not really the developer or Nintendo's job to figure that out. This is, after all, an emulator, and Nintendo doesn't like emulators. But as long as you have a physical copy... Oh, ouch, that was unfortunate. But as long as you have a physical copy of the game, it is perfectly legal for you to have a digital copy. You do need to dump your copy off of your Switch onto your computer. Don't, or wherever you're emulating it, because you can emulate on Android phones as well. Don't pirate anything. So I just want to be very clear that I say that up front and out loud. Do not pirate anything. So let's go revive Altina.
Thank you.
But you'll notice we're pretty solid 60 FPS throughout.
My turn.
Oh, she's blind. That's not good.
My turn.
Let's do this.
Charging.
My turn. It's my turn.
All right. Take this.
Just a little drop below 60 there. Nothing too substantial, I don't think. I wouldn't call it substantial, at least.
I can still fight.
Sure you can, buddy. We believe in you.
Down.
I'll assist.
Probably gonna, yep, he's probably gonna KO because of that poison right there. Let's see.
There. All right. Set. Striker. Yeah. Wide open.
It's mine.
Stay down. Yeah, we did it.
Indeed.
Alright, so as you can see, combat goes pretty smoothly. We're gonna try to go to this boss. And we're gonna revive Good Man Reen. Do we have anything that restores CP? Yeah. What I want to try to do is I want to actually try to initiate one of his S-Craft abilities so we can take a look at what's going to happen there, because that has a lot of on-screen effects, alpha effects, and other things to see what we can accomplish here. Oh, I forgot we have high speed mode, so we can actually turn this on and see how it affects game performance, and it doesn't look like it affects it at all. We can go back through. It'll dip as it loads between areas, but look, you can see drawing into the distance there. The guy we just fought stays at 60 the whole time, so we'll take it out of high speed mode. Alright, let's go to the dungeon boss. We'll just do a little bit of this just for the sake of pulling off one of the X-Craft abilities and making sure that our performance stays solid. It should. I think it'll be okay.
Now.
I'll assist.
I guess I should be using some of my...
Let's go. Raging fire formation.
Okay, so there's a little hiccup there as it did that animation. I think that's because it's the first time it's loaded that into memory. If we...
Let's go.
I shall go. Search
we
mode.
do this, let's just see what happens here.
Detailed information obtained.
Okay, a little bit of a graphic spike there, but you can move the character model around. Doesn't seem to affect it at all.
Very well. Strike. It's down.
It's mine.
Oh, should hit him with a rush and see what happens. All right, let's try this.
Form up. Iron will formation.
So again, a little bit of a hiccup there. So we're getting just a hair under 60 here. I wonder if it's this iron, the order that's up here in the upper right. You'll see where it says order iron will. I wonder if that animation is causing some issues. There's a lot of transparency going on with that, so it's probably like an alpha effect, is what I'm guessing. So it's probably layered on top of the entire screen, which is causing that. You notice the frame. Wow, when you get these menus up, wow, you really notice the performance takes some hits. But then it kind of smooths back out again. Not sure why.
Let's go. Sit. It's down.
Let's try this.
Let's go, Altina.
So we get a little bit of a performance hit here, but given that this is an RPG and not an FPS, I don't think it matters too much.
It's mine. Very well. Yeah. There.
Let's have them do a rush and see what happens. So again, a little bit of a stutter there when it first loads into that transition, but not too bad. Let's go to high speed mode and see what happens.
I'm up.
Again, staying pretty solid, honestly.
I'll assist.
Alright. Now he's enhanced. Let's do this. Let's do our S-Craft with Reen. Let's take a look at the performance. So that actually drops to 38 there for just a second.
Now.
But as he goes through the entire animation, what happens? 50, 49, we'll say 50,
7 slash.
48, 45. Okay. Very uneven frame time. Look at that.
It's my turn.
It smooths right back out. I think it's okay. I think this is completely playable. I wonder if the same thing would happen if we were... oh, we are at handheld. So it doesn't matter if it's docked or handheld. If we put it to docked, what happens? Okay, let's check one other thing. Let's set this to 3x. Switch this to FXAA and see what happens. Ooh, wow, that really tanks the performance there. Okay. So yeah, higher graphics, higher resolution, I should say, even if it's internally rendered, really hits the CPU pretty hard. FXAA seems to hit it pretty hard too. That's interesting. And the frame rate's uncapped like that. Let's do this back on medium and see what happens. We get a little bit more performance. So yeah, I think this 2x SMAA is probably kind of your sweet spot. So Yuna, I guess, will close us out here. I hope this has been interesting, that this has served you in some way. Hopefully it will guide you in how to get some mods installed and how you can play around with the graphics settings to see what the performance effect might be for you. Anyway, that being said, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Not sure what I'm going to be doing yet. Working on a couple things. Still trying to get them ironed out a little bit, though. Emulating is a little difficult with Intel these days. It's not quite as smooth as it is on the Apple Silicon Macs, that's for sure. So that being said, take care, everybody. Like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.